Hello and welcome to my vlog series in which I review games and talk about movies. Today we're going to be talking about the game called Captain Commando, and I thought I really didn't know what game or what kind of movies to talk about. So I thought, why not talk about something very obvious, movies based on video games. But first, let's talk about the game. Captain Commando is a pretty well-known side-scrolling beat 'em up arcade game, and it's really fun. You have four different characters to choose from. You can choose to be Captain Commando himself, which is just a guy in like a power suit with some different abilities. Then you can choose a ninja who has a katana. Then you can choose a mummy. That's one of the weirder characters. The mummy has two knives, I think. Yeah, sounds about right. And then the weirdest of the characters, you can choose to be a baby in a battle suit. Basically, the baby is sitting where the guy's head would be. Yeah, so yeah, that's a kind of weird character. And I'm trying to get down from this mountain without dying. I guess we'll just go down the way I came up. But yeah, the game is pretty standard. Like I said, a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Pretty similar to games like Final Fight and Streets of Rage, only better graphics. You go through different areas of this world and beat up people. You can do some combos. You have some special attacks, um, and you can pick up things and throw it at them. You can pick up weapons to use, which will be the weapons is only like for a little while. They get used up, and there's of course power ups such as I think it's a big piece of meat on a bone. That's basically your health power up. Now I can't remember the story, but I think it's something. It's probably about something about saving the city or something. And yeah, you go through different areas. Like I said, you start off in a city, move into a museum. I remember one of the levels being an underwater level. There's a level where you actually. Oh, okay. Scared me. There's a level where you're actually riding on like a jet ski. I think there's a circus, but there's a space level, and it's pretty fun. And like I said, there's the jet ski, so it's not just becoming like they vary the gameplay a bit, so there's a different type of gameplay. Um, And like I said, it was an arcade game. I played it on an arcade emulator, which means that I could pretty much just keep throwing virtual coins in the machine. So, so yeah, that's kind of cheating, but it didn't have like invincibility or anything. So it was a fun game. I recommend people go play it. I've seen it a couple of times at the arcades. I don't think I actually played it at an arcade, but if you can find it at an arcade, I recommend it. Although that, of course, will be more expensive. I think the game was also out for some of the consoles. Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive, Genesis. Though I'm not really sure. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, I'm looking for. I guess I can take some iron and make a new. Oh, I'm blind. I was looking for the shears. But yeah, Captain Commando is definitely a fun game. And I would say it's a time killer. It's not something that you would just get into like I mean, of course, there's no immersion or anything, and it's not. There's no real playability. I mean, you can play as the different characters. You can play with a buddy. I think it's two-player co-op mode. I'm not sure though. Hey. And why is there a chicken? You're not a sheep, you know that? Oh, I made it sad. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, next topic is, of course, movies based on video games. And that's, I'm gonna talk about some of the few bad. I'm gonna talk about some of the, no, not, that's the other way around. Some of the few good. I'm gonna talk about some of the bad. And I'm gonna talk about those that are most of, and that is the mediocre. Now let's start with the good video games movies because there's really not that many. Tomb Raider. I enjoyed very much the first Tomb Raider movie. Angelina Jolie was an excellent choice for Lara Croft. And I like that they didn't try to, as far as I know, I haven't played all, not any, I haven't played all of the Tomb Raider games, but I think that the story in the first Tomb Raider and the second, for that matter, movie isn't based of any of the video games. They later was made into video games, but I think the stories was original, which I like. That gives the director and writer more freedom to create something that suits more for a movie rather than a video game. Um, so yeah, Tomb Raider. I can't remember. I don't actually recall that much of the second Tomb Raider movie. I've seen it, but the first one was the one that really made an influence. Not an influence that I remember. Um, Also good is of video game movie Silent Hill, the first one. I haven't seen the sequel. The first Silent Hill movie. I've played a little bit about a little bit of the first Silent Hill game, and I've seen some of the others briefly through YouTube. But the first game. No, wait. The movie. I got mixed up in what I was saying. I liked the movie. It had a lot of the atmospheric from the game, and I like that it's just not just a horror story about people going crazy, or about zombies, or about demons. There's something terrible that have happened, similar to what's in the books, not books, video games. And I really liked it. It had some amazing effects, some really nice um, like atmospherics. Like I said, a really pretty movie. That sounded weird. And I think that it lived up to a lot of how the games were played. And just like with Tomb Raider, they didn't try to like take one of the games and make it into a movie. They made a story based on the games, but not directly one of the games. And the ending of Silent Hill is, in my opinion, ooh, the sun is going down, is in my opinion one of the greatest ending I've ever seen in a movie. I know this sounds weird, but I just love the ending. If you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna spoil it. But if you haven't seen it, go see it just for the ending. I actually did that a couple of times, just kept rewinding to watch the end. Because, I don't know, it's just something about the end of the movie. Another one that is good is Resident Evil, the first movie. I only played the first Resident Evil game and a little bit about of the fourth, but so I really can't tell how much they stayed to stuck to the original universe. But if you look at the first movie, it takes place in a mansion with a giant lab underneath, which is pretty much the first movie. Although the lab is a lot bigger in the movie than in the game. Did I say the first movie or did I say the first game? I don't know. So yeah, and I loved it. It's a great story. There's no depth in it. It's pretty. It's entertainment, and well, most video game movies are. All the other ones I mentioned is also just about entertainment. I think it's hard to make like a deep story about zombies anyway. And So yeah, but in my opinion, the best movie based on a video game, and I'm not saying this is a good movie, but for it, but it kind of follows the game very good, very well, and that is Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat movie. I think it's it follows this original idea behind the game and the story so well that it's almost as I feel like it is the Mortal Kombat game, and I really love that. And it's not a great movie. It's not like you when you've seen it saying, "Oh my God, that was the best movie ever." But if you played the game, yes, you will have some nostalgia. I couldn't say a word for a moment there, and it. I enjoyed that movie. Now the sequel, though, I'll get back to the sequel. Well, let's talk about bad. I don't know what I'm doing right now. What am I? How do I do this? I have to hold down shift, right? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm an idiot. There we go. Oh yeah, sorry. There we go. Um, let's talk about the bad movies. And there really isn't that many bad movies, I think, because a lot of the movies that people call, oh, it's so bad, it's just because it doesn't feel like the game completely, but I mean, come on, that is almost impossible to make if you should make a movie that followed a compute story from a video game precisely. But let's talk about some of the bad ones. Like, let's just start with the worst, and that is Street Fighter. Street Fighter is a horrible movie, and they totally fucked up that movie with, like I said, with Mortal Kombat. They kind of stuck to the story that it was a tournament, but they tried to make something like deep out of the an actual story out of the Street Fighter, which just didn't function. It was a horrible movie, horrible, and thank God Raul Julia managed to make one more movie before he died. May he rest in peace. Because it would have been terrible to if that was his last movie. Although, unfortunately, and I'm not, it is one of the movies he is remembered for. That and of course the Addams Family. Now, to be honest, I really can't remember any of the other movies he made, except for Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, which wasn't really that good of a movie either. Another horrible video game movie is Super Mario Brothers. Now, what the fuck were they thinking? That doesn't even have anything to do with Super Mario Brothers. I guess it does a little bit, but not really. It was a horrible movie, and it was actually with pretty good actors. I mean, Dennis Harbour, Bob Hoskins, and John Leguizamo. And yes, I do think John Leguizamo is a great actor, although I know there's a lot of people who think he's not, but that's their problem. Um, but yeah, that movie just shouldn't have been made. Ooh, I can make some chests. Um, and then of course, we have Uwe Boll. And to be honest, not all of his movies are totally terrible. But let's talk about some of the ones that are. And we have, of course, In the Name of a King, a Dungeon Siege adventure. Now, I have never played any of the Dungeon Siege games, so I don't know what they're all about. But I'm guessing it's some kind of a dungeon crawler fantasy game. But the movie was like one of the worst fantasy movies ever, and that says a lot because there's been a lot of really bad fantasy movies. But what's really weird about it is that the Bull got all these A-list actors to be in it, including Jason Statham, and that was kind of weird. Um, but yeah, that was a horrible one. Another horrible of the Bulls movies is, of course, Blood Rain. Now, I never played any of the Blood Rain games, but the movie itself was just terrible. The only thing that was worth watching was like the the clothing of the main character, or basically the lack of clothing of the main character. Let's see. I think that's. I'm gonna hack it, like chop a hole right here. See, yeah, that wasn't the location. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's out here. Oh, not there. There we go. Uh, well, that was weird. Um, what else do we have? Then, of course, there's the what's it called? House of the Dead. Ugh, that was really one of the worst zombie movies ever made. And again, that says a lot because there's a lot of bad zombie movies. But I think what really made the movie horrible was the fact that he decided to have part of the game flash through the movie, and I'm thinking, why? Why would you? Why would you do that? I was a bit confused there for a minute. But yeah. Now, like I said, not all of Bull's movies were that horrible. Postal, I actually quite enjoyed Postal. Yes, it was a cheesy, campy movie, and it wasn't a great movie, but it was a movie based on a campy, cheesy, over the top game. So it pretty much lived up to the hype of the game. Now I actually never played the game, but I've seen some videos of it. So pretty much, yeah. I think that was for making a game on Postal. That movie was actually acceptable. And then we had the Far Cry movie, which I actually quite enjoyed. Yes, it didn't take place in a tropical surroundings, I know, but did take place on an island, and I think that the movie actually followed the game's story pretty well. And I mean, come on, who doesn't like Till Schweiger? Till Schweiger is an amazing actor, and he's great at roles like that, with one-liners and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that movie. Now, I'm gonna just briefly mention some others. So I'm not gonna go into detail with some other games based on movies. The other way around, movies based on games. And these are some that was entertaining. Might not have completely lived up to the game, but if you look at them for just movies and not based on games, some of these movies I'm about to mention was pretty good. And I'm talking about Max Payne. I'm talking Doom, Hitman. Uh, what else were there? Jesus Christ. But yeah, let's just talk about these three movies. Hitman, I never really got into the whole Hitman games. I tried the very first and I didn't like it. But I think the Hitman movie was pretty okay. It wasn't like a masterpiece or anything, but it was watchable. Max Payne, a lot of people complained Max Payne, oh, it was a horrible movie, but it really wasn't that bad of a movie. Yes, compared to the game, it was kind of crappy, but if you ignored that it was based on a game, I consider it to be entertaining, much more entertaining than a lot of other movies that people seem to like for instance the Transformers franchise. Uh, and then what was the last one I mentioned? Oh God, I mentioned one more game, one more movie. Hitman, Max Payne 2, Doom. That was it. Yeah, Doom didn't feel like there was some things in the movie that felt like you were watching a movie based on the game, but they messed up kind of the story, and I don't know. The thing I really liked about it, and that is what, and which is also the thing that most people hated about it, is well, some. It's kind of 50-50 if you love or hate this. But the fact that you actually went into a first-person perspective in the movie, I kind of like that. That was pretty cool. Um, I know there's a lot of other games based on movies, other way around, movies based on games, and there's even some I haven't seen yet. But I'll probably get a chance to talk about this in a later video as well. So I think I'm gonna end it here. Let's just sum up. Um, Captain Commando is an excellent game. Uh, it's not like something that you should. If you can get it cheap or find it for free or find it at the arcade, yes, pay it. But I wouldn't like be a game that I would pay tons of money for it because there's really no replayability. Is that the right word? Replayability? I think it is. So, but it's fun, and I like the graphics. I like the animations and stuff like that. The very cartoony feel of the game. And video game movies, a lot of bad. There are, well, not a lot actually. There's some bad, there's some good, but most of them just falls in between. And I'll get back to that subject later. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what I've talked about it. And even if there's a game movie I haven't talked about, don't worry, I might talk about it in a later video. So no need mentioning that I forgot about this movie or that movie. But let me know if you agree with the movies I talked about and where I placed them on the scale, the rating. And I'm gonna end the video here. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you next time for more movies and games. Bye.